Coming up for the second time, a local man experiences something you and I probably won't even get to do once.
Plus, parents of SUNY students had better get ready to dig a lot deeper next. Coming up, something's going to happen tonight that hasn't happened in 3 years, and your furious furnace is the tip-off. Steve's got that. A busy road in Niskayuna is back open tonight after a two-car crash involving young children and their mothers shuts it down for hours. And a hot-button issue keeps protesters out in the cold as they try and stop a war with Iraq. The news starts now.
Channel 6 News is everywhere. Live, the most watched news station in the capital region. This is Channel 6 News at 11.
In less than an hour, dozens of Capital Region activists will board buses bound for Washington, D.C., protesting what seems to be an inevitable drive toward war with Iraq. Good evening, I'm Joe Pagliarulo.
And I'm Liz Bishop. The activists will voice their opposition along with thousands more from all over the country. Earlier today, about 200 anti-war protesters held a rally in Albany to promote peace. Together, they marched around the state capitol carrying signs, singing songs, all in an effort to send a message that war, according to them, is not the answer. The so-called peacekeepers say they will continue this demonstration at the U.S. Capitol tomorrow, hoping to bring change.
So it's our way of signaling also to the world that the American people are not unanimously behind this war drive. It's actually only a few people in Washington who really want this war.
2 New York National Guard units have already shipped out for Iraq, which has many others wondering if or when they will get the call.
Biggest thought is when, where we're going to go, how long we're going to be there, and again, the biggest thing, what kind of impact it's going to have on my children. I have complete confidence in the president, and if he feels that's what we have to do, then I'll be ready and willing to go.
And whether or not war is declared, the discovery of those empty chemical warheads in the country has kept a war of words alive.
Aleen Sirgany brings us up to date now from Washington.
Stopping short of calling it the green light to attack Iraq. The White House Friday said the discovery of 12 empty chemical warheads in Baghdad is troubling and serious, and warns it's proof Saddam Hussein has not disarmed.
The real issue here is, what is Saddam Hussein doing? What is Saddam Hussein hiding? And what else has Saddam Hussein failed to list in his declaration?
Iraq argues it did list the 12 warheads in its 12,000-page declaration. Chief UN Weapons Inspector Hans Blix, who met with British Prime Minister Tony Blair and earlier with French President Jacques Chirac, said he's still not sure whether the warheads were mentioned in Iraq's declaration or not. But he promises to be blunt with Iraqi officials in a face-to-face meeting this weekend.
We feel that we need a more sincere and more proactive, to use the modern word, cooperation from the Iraqi side.
Showing no signs of backing down, a defiant Saddam Hussein marked the 12th anniversary of the first Gulf War with a warning that Iraqi enemies will face suicide if they enter Baghdad. But U.S. troops continue gearing up for war, unloading tanks, artillery, armored vehicles, and tons of combat gear from a cargo ship in Kuwait. Kuwait is a huge staging area for troops who may soon be called upon to fight a war in Iraq. The U.S. had hoped to station tens of thousands of troops in Turkey, but was forced to scale back on those plans because the country wouldn't give them permission to do it. In Washington, Aleen Sirgany, Channel 6 News.
Well, as soldiers ship out, they're going to have to face desert conditions. Not the case for those protesters that we saw a little while ago who are braving some of the coldest weather we've had in years.
And you may have to get used to that little minus sign on the forecast. Nobody can get used to that. Meteorologist Steve LaPointe has the latest from the Weather Center.
Well, I'll tell you what, a lot of areas already below zero as this bitter blast of air continues to come in from the north. We'll show you the 11 o'clock numbers. Albany has dropped to 1 above, Schenectady the same, Glens Falls 2 below, Rutland at 4 below. It's close to 0 in the Berkshires, Poughkeepsie at 7, and Utica right now at 9 degrees below zero. Still with plenty of time to cool tonight. Looks like we'll be in the vicinity of 6, 7, maybe 8 below in the immediate capital region, with some of the colder mountain valleys as low as 25 degrees below zero overnight tonight. We got a nice bright day coming up for you on your Saturday, though. Lots of sunshine. 1 below at 8 o'clock. About 13 at noon. We may just briefly get to 20 before temperatures start sliding back into the mid-teens through 6 o'clock. So a nice day to look at from inside your warm house, but very cold to be outside coming up tomorrow. Much more on this cold wave and how much longer it's going to last in a couple more minutes. Joe and Liz.
All right, thanks, Steve.
Police in Niskayuna say they're still trying to determine what caused a nasty automobile accident that has 3 people, including 2 children, recovering in the hospital.
It all happened this afternoon on Balltown Road between River Road and Aqueduct Road. That's where Joe Gambino is live tonight with more details. Joe.
Hi, Joe and Liz. I am on Balltown Road, just by the GE Research Center. This is where police say a truck and a minivan crashed, causing serious injury, one a near fatal. It happened about 4 o'clock this afternoon. At this hour, investigators, unsure of exactly what happened, say a truck driven by 32-year-old Rita Roth of Schenectady collided with a minivan driven by 37-year-old Virginia Rosenblum of Niskayuna. The impact of the crash caused the minivan to roll over. Inside, police say were Rosenblum's 2 children, ages 2 and 4. Mrs. Rosenblum, who was in serious condition tonight, and one of her children had to be medevaced to Albany Med. Her other child was transported to Ellis Hospital, but investigators say subsequently had to be sent to Albany Medical Center. The children's conditions are not being released. We are told Rita Roth, the driver of the truck, is also recovering at the hospital. At this time, at the time of the accident, she was carrying her 4-year-old daughter, who we are told was uninjured. Traffic on Balltown was at a standstill for several hours while authorities from Niskayuna, Colony, and Schenectady all worked the scene. Police say at this point they're still putting together the pieces of this accident. It's in the preliminary stages.
We are looking into road conditions, which do not appear to be a factor at this time. Weather conditions. We'd like to talk to the people who are in the cars, although that's going to be difficult at this time. We have talked to witnesses.
Police are not releasing all the information about this, but they say one child at the time of the accident who was taken away by medical workers did not have a heartbeat. But when the child was taken to the hospital, eventually the medical workers were able to revive this child. They're not telling us which child it was. They're not telling us if it was a girl or a boy. They're calling it a reversal, though, because the child didn't have a heartbeat, but they were able to revive this child. I can tell you now, Balltown Road traffic is moving in both directions. For the most part, it was shut down from the River Road intersection all the way to the bridge. But right now, traffic is moving freely, and we will have more on this accident and information as it becomes available. Live in Niskayuna, Joe Gambino, Channel 6 News.
2 Schenectady men are warming up in a jail tonight after a long, cold standoff with police in Colony. Police say 18-year-old Robinson Rees of Elm Street and 21-year-old Chester Williamson of Bedford Road broke into Callanan Industries on Kings Road and set off the burglar alarm in the process. Now, according to officers, the men were trying to steal computer equipment and personal items from the office. After searching for hours, police say they found the 2 hiding on the roof.
It was a very long, cold process for the officers, and probably even longer and colder for the subjects hiding on the roof.
Police say Rees and Williamson did not put up much of a fight when they were arrested. All the equipment was found stacked near a window of the building.
If an education at a SUNY school is in your future, you can expect to dig a lot deeper into your pocket.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
2 nays. Any other nays? Any abstentions? The motion carries.
The trustees voted 14-2 today to raise tuition by 40%, or about $1,400 a year. The tuition increase would begin in the fall semester. The 2 trustees saying nay argued that more should have been done to cut costs, saying a hike of this size could make college unaffordable for some. If history is any indicator, some students may end up quitting. In 1995, tuition went up $750 and 3,900 students dropped out.
Well, it's been nearly 4 years now since 15 students, including the 2 teenage gunmen, were killed in a spray of gunfire at Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado. Tonight, the father of one of the victims continued his mission to create some good from his daughter's murder. Daryl Scott honored his daughter Rachel's memory at the Youth for Christ Student Leadership Conference tonight at the Saratoga Springs City Center. Since her death, her father travels the country sharing the story of Rachel's life and faith and how they have affected thousands of others. Scott has written a new book called Rachel Smiles, offering a message of hope and grace to young people who are trying to practice family values in a world of peer pressure and temptation. It's a program called Rachel's Challenge.
She reached out to kids that were picked on by others. She reached out to the handicapped and those that were new at her school. And as we share those stories, we really see young people open up and change take place. And ironically, the one who killed her, Eric Harris, on videotape in the basement of his home talked about starting a chain reaction of violence at the same time that Rachel was writing about starting a chain reaction of kindness. And
Scott says he gets emails all the time from schools where he's visited that Rachel's challenge has made a positive difference. Well, with a rub of a coin, a Pittsfield man has beaten the odds to become an instant millionaire, but it's nothing new for him.
You believe this? 70-year-old Donald Agar has won $4 million from the 30th anniversary